Hi everybody, this is Alex. Another episode of Alex and Experts. So just to explain what this video is about, we're going to talk about croissants today, and this episode is called Pimp My Croissant. Alex and Experts is a creative agency that does a lot of work in the food industry. We are obsessed with food-based innovation, and one of the things we do is we help our clients identify new platforms and new ideas for growth and innovation. Innovation can be a very scary, frightening word. And what we tend to find is if you work in a category like bakery, sometimes it's hard to look beyond what you know, and it can be hard to see the wood for the trees. So it's our job to keep our clients up to date with the latest ideas. It's our job to keep you informed with what innovators and early adopters are doing and how people are really thinking out of the box and doing things in a completely different way. So the reason this episode is called Pimp My Croissant is because it's all about somebody in the UK doing something super cool and super different with croissants. I've got a cup of tea here, a cup of Yorkshire tea. Right now, as I sit here, I'm in Quito, I'm in Ecuador. I'm 9,000 kilometers from Manchester, where I'm normally based. And the reason I say that is this is my only box of Yorkshire tea. Once this is gone, I'm stuffed. To get a box of Yorkshire tea here costs me, well, a lot of money. This box of Yorkshire tea might only be like £3 in money, but to get this couriered here, that's about £30. So I tend to use them very slowly, very carefully, and I rely on friends who visit me and bring me tea. So if there's anything you want to do for me, send me a box of tea and I will love you forever. So let's talk about croissants. This here is a classic French-style croissant. It's from Serrano. So here in Quito in Ecuador, there's an amazing chain of gourmet French bakeries called Serrano. They are exceptional. Their bread, everything. If you love bread, if you love pastry, you will love Serrano. Absolutely spectacular. Now the French are going to hate me for saying this, but sometimes croissants can be a little bit boring. They get a bit samey. When you eat them regularly, it's just a sort of plain old croissant. What if somebody was to reimagine the croissant? Now I love croissants. I love those sort of crispy, crunchy, flaky, buttery layers that just sort of melt in your mouth. I love that. You can see my body loves croissants. But anyway, they can be a bit dry and they can be a little bit dull. My friend Amy owns a gym, ironically. Her and her husband, they own a gym called the Coach House in Bury, which is a very nice market village in Greater Manchester. During lockdown, unfortunately, the gym had to close, and like many people, Amy found herself with time on her hands. She was probably giving online gym classes to the gym clients, but she had extra time, and she started to bake, and she started to get creative. Amy had Amy had a lightning bolt. She's like, let's take the classic French croissant and let's pimp it out with some incredible, insane toppings. She didn't just turn to any old boring toppings. I mean, you could have put a bit of jam on top, a slice of cheese. Amy got creative. Amy pimped up the croissant by adding caramels, chocolates, hunky chunks of chocolate bars. Not just any chocolate bars, but the British chocolate bars. Malou, please Malou, no barking. No barking during my video. Oh, it's like, here, you stay there. This is Malou. No, don't eat the croissant, Malou. The croissant is for me, and maybe you will get a little bit. Sorry. Amy bakes the croissants from scratch, probably following a special French recipe provided by her French husband. And then the fun really begins. Amy melts down chocolate and caramels. You can just imagine them bubbling gently on a stove, all that sweet goodness. Wow. Then Amy adds chunks of fudge, candies, chocolate bars, favourite biscuits that we all sort of know and love. These saintly croissants, they're part sweet treat and part work of art. They're colourful and clearly 100% Instagrammable. I mean, let's face it, we don't just eat with our mouths, we eat with our eyes. If we see something that looks adorable, if we see something pink with love hearts, something that I can put on my Instagram feed, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to buy it right now. Now, what started as a cottage industry for Amy has now turned into a real side hustle. So Amy can't bake these things fast enough. She bakes them, she's selling them online, and it was the perfect COVID treat because people were at home watching the news, there was all the doom and gloom, and I think all of us, we've all turned to sweets and chocolates and comfort foods to get us through this crazy, exhausting time. Amy called the business SAINT Croissants, which I just thought was a gorgeous name. Saint, it makes me think of France. It also makes me think of this sort of like guardian angel who's coming and giving me sweetie goodness at a difficult time. So it was a genius name. The packaging is genius, so every croissant or every gift box comes in this beautiful pastel pink packaging. It's absolutely beautiful. It's perfect to brighten up anyone's day. So Amy very cleverly turned to home delivery, curbside delivery. People can order the croissants through WhatsApp, through a Facebook page, and very shortly there'll be a full-blown website dedicated to SAINT Croissants. Food entrepreneurs and creators like Amy, they're reinventing staid and stubborn categories that can feel a little bit boring. So when I, for example, visit the in-store bakeries at the major supermarkets, I sometimes get a bit frustrated. I'm like, oh my goodness, give me some inspiration. It's just the same old, repeated day after day after day. Of course, people have their classics, people have their favourites. But for you as a baker, for you as a retailer, for you as a supermarket, create something new. Do something cool that just lasts for a fortnight. Find a way to give the consumer surprise, delight, newness. Just imagine buying a box of SAINT Croissants. Imagine them as a Valentine's tree. Imagine feeding your loved one in the bed, feeding them chunks of flaky pastry, feeding them chunks of the indulgent chocolate. And Amy has been an absolute genius in the toppings that she chose. Think about your favourite childhood sweets and candies and chocolates. Think about Jammy Dodger biscuits. Think about Cadbury's Freddo. Think about the bubbles in a Min Aero. Oh my goodness. And then just think about them all combined together, beautifully laid out on a croissant. And just imagine pulling apart and all those chunks dropping down. Another one Amy is doing is, who loves Lotus Biscoff biscuits? Oh my God, they are like crack cocaine. Give me a pack of Lotus biscuits and I can just eat the whole lot. In fact, when it comes to biscuits, I have a rule. I always say to people, when it comes to biscuits, I'd rather have none than just one. Now, this is hilarious, isn't it? Because Amy owns a gym. She's helping people to lose fat, to get fit, to be lean. Yet one of these croissants of Amy's, I don't know, it could be like 1,000 calories. But that's how consumers are eating today. It's like a yo-yo, isn't it? On the one hand, people are eating clean, they're eating protein, they're doing diets like keto and low carb, but intermittently, they're still wanting those indulgent sharing experiences. They're having, triple-decker burgers, amazing French toast for brunch with maple syrup and candied bacon. Crazy. So there's definitely a market for sweet, indulgent products like this. Now these croissants, they're not exactly cheap. Amy's selling a single croissant for between £5.50 and £6 for a single one. A lot of people will think that's expensive. But I suppose when you work out that Amy bakes the croissant from scratch, she acts like an artisan, creating them, designing them, handcrafting, adding the toppings, melting the chocolate, plus all the work that goes into the presentation and the delivery. They're not actually bad value, and they make for a wonderful gift. Amy also does an amazing summer breakfast box. It's just incredible. There's enough for two to share in one of these boxes. For £30, you get 3 of these amazing loaded croissants. You get 2 chocolate milks, 2 Starbucks lattes, and a punnet of fresh strawberries. Makers and creators and entrepreneurs like Amy, they're reimagining categories. They're finding ways to add surprise and delight and to do things differently. When it comes to innovation, I've always believed that if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And if you're a food business, if you're trying to reimagine a stagnant category, think about what could we do to add fun, surprise, delight. What could we do differently? Even if it was just a seasonal special. The idea of this video today was to really arouse your creative brain, to get you thinking about your business, your brand, your category, and what you could do differently. Amy took what can be quite a boring staid product. She took a plain, simple croissant, but Amy did something different. She thought outside of the box. She really thought creatively. So, if you're a food company looking for inspiration, contact Alex and Experts. We'll help you see what is trending, what's new, what's next. We'll keep your finger on the pulse as to what the innovators and the early adopters are doing in your space. And we'll work with you to develop amazing new innovations that are going to win the minds and the hearts of your consumer.